All right, AFC East. 8 wins, over or under? I'm choosing the Buffalo Bills in the top spot, the Patriots in the second spot, the Dolphins in the third spot, and the Jets dead last. So Buffalo Bills, they almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. Bunch of controversial calls there in that game in the playoffs. But it looks like to me that they made some decent moves to try to get better in the offseason. They pick up, what is his name, Joey Bosa, one of the Bosa brothers. They picked up a wide receiver, was it Joshua Palmer?
Uh-huh.
Joey Bosa had 5 sacks, decent. And Joshua Palmer, 584 yards.
Yeah. I think the Buffalo Bills in the number one spot is going to be accurate. I think paying your guy that has been basically putting the entire franchise on his shoulders, and he's definitely lived up to the hype. The AFC East is still trying to figure itself out, but you got a happy QB. You gave him a couple more weapons. I think Palmer is a guy that's going to be a good number 2 option, opposite of Coleman. Defensively, they still kept some of the core. They're going to make sure all those guys stay for long term. Their schedule, they're going to be facing their division. I think they lose maybe one game in their division. So realistically, I have it where they're 12-5. Their ceiling can be 14-3, but 13 wins is probably going to be where they're at. And that, to me, projects them to be in the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I definitely see them beyond the 8 wins. 12, 13 wins makes a whole lot of sense. Yes, they went out and they paid Josh Allen even more money. He only had 6 interceptions and 28 passing touchdowns. The guy is not the Super Bowl MVP, but the MVP of the season. James Cook had over 1,000 rushing yards. They're only, to me, their only biggest issue is defense, because offensively they put up some crazy numbers. If you look at some of the games that they played, it was all high scoring on both ends of the field. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. Yes, their defense gives up a ton of points, but yes, their offense can go in there and put up a ton of points.
Their biggest issue it's not that the defense is a problem. I think week in and week out, it's what they're going to get out of their defense, because they can be the best defense on the field, and then the following week, stink it up. So I have a good feeling that the Buffalo Bills, with their division being so wishy-washy right now, their strength of schedule is not that tough. They could easily make that 13 wins.
Yeah, I think that they will sweep the New York Jets. I think they can beat the Dolphins. New England Patriots have loaded up a little bit, so maybe they win at least one of those games. So just within the division, I think they get 5 wins at least. Maybe they win all 6.
I put it's not the Patriots. I think it will be the Dolphins that end up giving them some early difficulties, because that's what happened many times to them. Is the Dolphins have been giving them some headaches, and they just lose that one early contest against them, and then the following contest they end up blowing them out like 48-13.
Yeah.
So
they also have that new stadium they're building, so they want to keep winning games to put rears in seats. All right, so moving on. New England Patriots. This team right here, Drake May, on the rise. supposedly they went out and they signed all kinds of players during the offseason. You look at their depth chart, it looks like they pretty much have a full team already. Like, how much more do they really need to add? I guess it's to compete at certain positions and figure it out from there. But it seems like the Patriots are going to be a much, much better team than the previous season.
So what do you think?
I think that they will get. I think they'll get right at 8 wins.
You're talking about New England?
The Patriots, yeah.
New head coach, Mike Vrabel, he's going to put his footprint in there. Big cap space. I think the biggest thing about the Patriots is that they're going to have some growing pains. I think realistically they could easily get some. They can get 6 wins, potentially 7 wins. So the Vegas is saying about the same thing, about 5.5 wins this year.
Okay. And then the Miami Dolphins. Tua, that guy, if he gets another issue with his head, concussion, that guy could be donezo for the rest of his time in the NFL. Then you have Zach Wilson as your backup QB. Tyreek Hill, his numbers kind of have been falling apart. Jalen Waddle is probably their top receiver at this point, in my opinion. Jonnu Smith, the tight end. So offensively, they're okay, but like you said before, they just can't handle the cold. When it starts to turn cold, those Dolphins go frozen.
Yeah, just looking at their schedule the past couple of years, when they have more home games in December, they're winning more. When they have a lot more away games, they're losing more. So their biggest question is right around the November, December timeframe, what's their schedule going to be like? Because if they have more home games late, then yeah, they could easily push for a playoff spot. But if they end up with a lot more away games, because nobody feels like Miami. There's no team out there that feels like Miami. So at that time of the year. So to me, I think it's going to be about 8.5 wins, because they're going to be one of those teams that are going to push for a playoff spot, or they're going to end up being the ones that we'll hear about week 15 that they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I personally think they'll be at about right at 8 wins. Their top receiver, Tyreek Hill, he's 31 now, about to be, well, he just turned 31. His numbers kind of got cut in half from the previous season, even though he played all of the games. I think that, I personally think that the Patriots will leap over the Dolphins in the division, and I think they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leaves nothing but the Jets.
New York Jets.
Jets.
They had Aaron Rodgers. They had all these ex-Packers players. They had Devontae Adams. And they fired their defensive coach during the middle of the season, which was not smart at all. And now they just pretty much restarting from scratch over again. They pick up Justin Fields, who's a decent quarterback, but who the heck is going to be holding off the defenders for Justin Fields? Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback. He can throw the football decently sometimes. But who the heck is on that defense? Who's calling the defense? And they have a brand new coach. I just don't see this team really making leaps in actually making it to the playoffs this season. It's kind of a complete rebuild year for the Jets.
Right. I think the Jets, Vegas has a projected 9.5 wins. I think that's way off. I think Aaron Glenn is a good defensive coordinator that's coming from Detroit, but he's not somebody I see as being able to handle the head coaching ranks. He's kind of like a Steve Wilkes type of mentality. So everybody who knows the Arizona Cardinals, when Steve Wilkes was there, I mean, they chose Josh Rosen as their quarterback of the future. So the biggest thing with Aaron Glenn is that he's going to have to handle and weather the storm. GM is going to have to understand that it's not going to be a season that they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to have to see what they got and reload and try to build from there. And that's going to be a key for the Jets, is build from this season. If you're going to want success, you're going to have to trust the process and let it happen.
And Justin Fields might be a little rusty, as he didn't really play the majority of the season last season on the Steelers.
Yeah, I think Aaron Glenn's going to have that coordinator understand that Justin Fields, when you let him do what he does best and move around and create plays with his feet, he ends up being a decent quarterback. A lot of fantasy leagues I've been in, Justin Fields would stink up everything from weeks 1 through 6, and then the rest of the season he would end up with a huge amount of rushing yards and putting on good performance after performance. So they're going to have to do that. But to me, I think the Jets are going to end up with a 5-win season, only because it's a lot to ask for somebody that's a first-time head coach, never had a chance to prove he's a head coach, and it's going to be an adjustment period.
Yeah, I definitely see them under 8 wins. It's going to be a lot of growing pains for this team. New coach, new players in key spots. So, yeah, they still have Breece Hall, the running back. Alan Lazard is still there. Garrett Wilson. Their defense looks like it's banged up. 4 of them are questionable at the moment. Sauce Gardner. So it's going to be, entertaining, at least. It will be entertaining, at least, just to see what they can do with Justin Fields out there. So that is the AFC East.
Listen up. Subscribe to Go Pat Go all day. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.